What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another MotoCamp adventure video, and today you're going to be joining me in my really boring commute to wherever my work is taking me in Santa Clara. And I'm going to be talking about the mishap I had with the Klim Krios helmet. Looking into it, I really wanted to like this helmet. I have plenty of friends who really like theirs. I'm not saying it's a bad helmet by any means. It's sort of just like something that didn't really fit me, and I kind of had like a weird, kind of bad experience with Klim at the time. I love Klim, and they've replaced my pants before in like after a low side, and you know, they're a great company. I just think that they did some weird practices with distribution and whatnot with this Klim Krios helmet. I used to call it a Krios, and someone corrected me, so I think it's Krios. So I've been using this Schubert C3 for about a year and a half, and I noticed that I was going like doing some serious off-road. I was really sweating, and the biggest point of cooling yourself down is getting air over your head. And this helmet really sucks at ventilating in any speed lower than 50 miles per hour, really. So especially with like a big windscreen like you have on these bikes, you really don't get much airflow. And so I was kind of drawn to the Krios because it seemed like it was going to be a little bit better airflow than this helmet. I figured anything could be better than this pretty much. B, I could wear goggles underneath the visor, so I could run my goggles, just flip down the visor when we get onto highway or road, flip up the visor when I want to just run goggles when we're doing lower speed stuff. I regularly ride behind my friend Dave, who's always kicking up a bunch of dust in this California drought and whatnot. So I just get dusted all the time, and I figured, you know, instead of just having to close up my entire helmet and close all the vents and everything, and, you know, while I'm going like low speed and 95 to 100 degree weather, why don't I get a helmet that vents better and just get some goggles and wear those, and that should fix my issues, right? So I looked into this helmet and I was like, oh man, like I was working at BMW at the time. I got a pretty good deal on it. I was super psyched that it was light, because this helmet's pretty heavy. I was like, yeah, I could deal with the wind noise and whatnot. I just put earplugs in. That's what I do with this helmet anyway, so. And just keep this as a commuter helmet. And so I got it, and I got a medium. And so I wear a medium in every size helmet, or every brand helmet rather. So Shoei, Schubert, Arai, HTC, I can't tell you how many helmets I've tried on, and they've all been medium. And so I bought medium thinking that was going to fit, and I put it on my head, and it just rotated around my head. And I was like, okay, I guess I need a small. So it kind of sucks, but I contacted Klim. I was like, hey, like, why does your website show that you don't have any smalls in stock? And they were like, oh yeah, we're out for the season. And this is like April. They said they were just out for the season. I don't know. So they must have had issues with their distribution or whatever. And I know that this helmet is actually manufactured by another brand in Europe. It's like, I forget, it's like Nevo or something. I don't know. I have to annotate it, but it's got pretty good reviews there too. And so this is basically just like a DOT certified version of that helmet with like Klim graphics on it. And it certainly looks good too, I won't lie. It's a great looking helmet. But after that, you know, I was like, okay, like, well, what can I do? Like, I have this medium, I can't get a small. And they were like, oh, well, you can just buy the cheek pads and put it in. And I'm like, well, first off, I'm like, okay, like the fact that you guys don't have a small in stock doesn't mean that I should have to buy cheek pads to fit a helmet that doesn't fit to begin with. So whatever, long story short, I still ended up Oh, this is after the fact. Sorry, this is after I had shipped that medium helmet back that they said, oh yeah, you can just buy these cheek pads. So they knew that I was trying to get a smaller helmet the first time around, but they didn't say anything about that. And they didn't say anything about the availability of small helmets. So after I shipped out that medium-sized helmet and I was waiting for the small-sized helmet, or I was waiting for actually another medium-sized helmet and small cheek pads and helmet liner, I met up with this woman that comes into the store, and she's really badass. She has set like lane speed records on like an S1000 RR and stuff. I won't mention her name just like in case she doesn't want to be mentioned. But she's super cool, and I trust her opinion like 100%. She actually works for Rawhide now, I think, doing instruction there. And her and her friend had mentioned that the Krios helmets did not really breathe that well. They've got an always open vent in the front, but there's something that blocks that vent, I think presumably to slow down the speed of the airflow, so it doesn't it's good for still like road riding. You're buying like a dual sport helmet and you would think it would kind of, especially like when you look at it, it looks like it should vent pretty well, but they were like, yeah, it doesn't really vent at all, it kind of sucks. So that was kind of a bummer, but I was like, yeah, still, like, I still want that helmet because it's super lightweight. It still accepts goggles underneath the visor and all that. So yeah, I get this helmet. I get the small cheek pads and the small helmet liner with it. I swap them out because they come with the medium everything in it. Probably was the same helmet I sent to them. Keep in mind, I actually spent my own money shipping this thing back and forth because, you know, they were like, oh, we're not a retailer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ah, okay, whatever. Like, I accept that. But it's still kind of not totally my fault that I measured my head and compared it against your sizing chart and it still didn't fit, so whatever. I get this, I get the small cheek pads and small helmet liner in. I put it on, same thing. The cheek pads have like almost no rigidity to them from my experience, and they just didn't hold. So like I put it on my head, I tried rotating the helmet around my head, and it just same thing. Like I don't even think they said small on the cheek pads, but or like they said the sizing. I forget what centimeters and everything, but it did the same thing, and I'm like, okay. I mean, that's the smallest size helmet you guys sell. Like, if I had a small size head, I would be extremely screwed. I can't imagine, you know, people that are buying this helmet through retailers that won't accept helmets back. Especially if they, you know, they tried it on in the store, it felt like it fit, and then like it broke in, which every helmet does, and it totally doesn't fit them anymore. So, I don't know. The design of this helmet is kind of wacky. I don't know why. I guess if you have a big head and you can fit your head into a, you know, your large head into a medium, then by all means do that. I just wonder too if that, like, everyone who has this helmet has been sizing incorrectly. Like, I know a lot of the time people would come into the shop with their helmet. They'd be like, yeah, I'm buying a new helmet, blah, blah, blah. And I check out the fit on their current helmet and it's just like completely rotates around their head. And so that's not safe. Like, you have to, like, I'd much rather have a $100 built helmet that fits well versus a $600 showy or awry that doesn't fit at all. Like, you have to have a good fitting helmet for it to work. So in my opinion, if you can't get a helmet that fits, then just you can't use the helmet. So that's really my biggest gripe with this helmet is the sizing. I mean, Klim sizing has always been kind of off, and like, you know, obviously Klim didn't really make this helmet. They just kind of like did a DOT thing and imported it and put their graphics on it. So I can't completely fault them for that. And, you know, it got really good ratings, the other helmet, the other brand helmet. So like, it's not like they chose a bad helmet to put their graphics on and whatnot, but I'm still just really disappointed with the whole thing. I spent $60 shipping this thing back and forth just to try it on, and it didn't fit. And I was, you know, maybe I sound like a whining consumer, but you know, when you label your thing as small even, and it doesn't fit my medium-sized head, And my head fits great in every other medium-sized helmet, for the most part. And so, I don't know, something's not right about that, and it's almost a little deceiving. And it's not safe either if everyone's buying these helmets for their medium-sized head. They're putting their medium helmet on, and it's a large, basically. So that's something to consider if you're looking at this helmet. Again, all of my friends who have this helmet rave about it pretty much. You know, a lot of them do say that it doesn't vent pretty well, but you know, it's whatever. I think that's sort of the compromise you have to make if you want a road helmet too. That's the thing with dual sport helmets, is like a lot of people suggest either just getting a road helmet or a dirt helmet, depending on what you want more and what you value in terms of ventilation or sound, or I don't know. It's just a bit disheartening because I love Klim as a brand. I'm almost like a Klim fanboy. I mean, I have Klim pants, Klim jacket, Klim gloves. You know, like I wear a lot of their stuff, and so I think it's all great. I've really never had any issue with it, except for this helmet. And I mean, maybe the gloves too. If you watch the glove review, you'd see that I probably wouldn't recommend those Adventure long gloves, but regardless, you get the idea. I really like this company for the most part, and their crash replacement program is just awesome. Like, the fact that I could go essentially crash my bike, you know, obviously not purposely, but I could get into a really bad crash, all my gear is shredded, whatnot. I was wearing all Klim gear. I could just give them a police report saying that I crashed, and they just basically review it and give you new gear. That's insane. Like, that's a lot of money. I doubt you would be able to do that with any other brand. So, and I've seen it personally. I've done it myself. My friend has done it for both his jacket and pants. Another one of my friends has done it. I mean, I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it, like, a few of my Facebook friends that I haven't actually met in person, but they're big adventure riders. I mean, they stick to their word. They do it, and they don't try to, they try not to avoid it like an insurance adjuster or something. They just do it because they believe in the brand, their own brand. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not, again, this isn't something against Klim. It's just maybe their engineers or designers need to rethink the helmet. That's all. I think it still could sell really well. I think it is selling really well. It's just kind of a shame that that's how it ended up, I guess. So I won't be owning one of those helmets anytime soon, unless they try to fix it, and maybe I'll consider it. But otherwise, that's my spiel for today. Sorry for the extended rant if you didn't want to watch this whole video. Yeah, thanks for joining me on another Motocamp Adventure video. I guess sort of like mini review. It sucks that I don't really have the helmet in front of me to show you guys this. I meant to do that at the time, but I just didn't have time. Again, thanks for joining me, and ride safe, everyone. And get a good fitted helmet.